Today, we're getting high in the mountains.
Hey man, this is a family show.
What? We're climbing big mountains. My name's Brandon Bargo.
My name is Greg Bargo, and today we're in the Centennial State, and we are the Highpointers.
Oh yeah.
My name is Brandon Bargo. My brother Greg and I have been climbing mountains all over the world for years. Our obsession is high pointing. We find the highest natural point wherever we are and do whatever it takes to stand on top of it. Sometimes it's a mountain, other times a molehill, but we've learned the real excitement is found in the journey to get there. So join us as we climb to the top of all 50 U.S. states. We are the Highpointers.
Greg, this week we're taking base camp on the road.
There's no better way.
I don't know if you can tell, but this week is getting serious. Can you tell? It's
From your tone?
No, not my tone, my beard. The thicker the beard, the harder the mountain.
Okay.
We're climbing Mount Elbert in winter. You're the guy that knows all the high points, you know the ins and outs, so what do we need to know to make this happen?
This one's not gonna be easy, especially in winter. Let's start with what we know is successful, the shun list. So location, elevation, precipitation, gear identification, and regulation.
Okay.
So first, location. Mount Elbert. It's located in San Isabel National Forest. It's the third highest peak in the nation, so it's a big one.
Denali, Whitney, Elbert?
Elbert.
Okay.
No matter what route you take, it's gonna be a long one. So anywhere from like 11 to 15 miles round trip.
We're gonna do this in a day, or are we doing this in 2 days?
We're doing it in one day.
All right, one big
So one
push.
long day.
All right.
So precipitation in the winter, what you gotta think about is cold temps, high winds, lots of snow.
We're talking negative, in the way negatives, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Gear identification, so me and you, we always have a headlamp, and then lots and lots of layers. And last thing, regulation, no fees, no permits needed to hike or climb the mountain, so that's one of the best ways to go.
It's gonna be cold, it's gonna be high, and it's gonna be far. This sounds like this is gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles, and I think that's what we want, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard one.
All right, Greg, here's the plan. We're taking in everything mountain related. We'll be visiting the only museum in the U.S. dedicated to climbing. Then we prepare our minds and body for cold weather with an ice climbing adventure. We head to a great pizza place in Leadville where we'll meet our guest, Marshall Ulrich. Marshall is known as the king of endurance. He's climbed Mount Everest, he's competed in every Eco Challenge adventure race, and he's won the Badwater Ultra Marathon 4 times, known as the hardest foot race in the world. And he's run across the United States in 52 days, averaging 60 miles a day. Marshall's gonna help us finish our trip with an epic winter ascent of Mount Elbert. We're finally starting off our high point adventure. We're heading to Golden, Colorado. It's about 15 miles west of Denver. And we're heading to the American Mountaineering Museum. And it's one of the only museums dedicated to climbing. It's got the world's largest repository of mountaineering literature.
When have you ever used the word repository?
I'm glad you asked. As a matter of fact, I made a repository in the RV bathroom just a little while ago. So, how do you like that?
Hey, Greg.
Hey Phil, how you doing?
Brandon.
Phil,
Nice to see
great
you.
to meet you.
Welcome
Thank
here
you.
to the American Mountaineering Center.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're super excited to be here. So what's in the building?
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about it.
we established this place in 1991 as the American Mountaineering Center. The American Alpine Club, where I work, is part of the ownership of the building, and our offices are here.
So can you kind of take us through and show us what the museum has?
Yeah, should we wander through?
Yeah.
It starts with the original pioneering years, early exploration, and then steeper and steeper rock and ice. The other thing that America is really known for is big wall climbing. That technique that was developed in Yosemite was then exported to the rest of the world. So that's really an American contribution.
Our goal on the show is to climb the highest point in all 50 US states. And so I would assume you have to have something talking about the high points. Do you have anything?
We do. Come over here. We just use this touch screen. There are the high points in the 50 states.
Yeah.
Mount Elbert is where you're headed.
One of our favorite resources that you guys have is the library. I'm excited to see that.
Let's wander through. So the library was a repository of all the books, ephemera, literature, etc., that documented the history of climbing. And then the American Alpine Journal, which we publish once a year, documents the most significant climbs accomplished each year.
So I saw a door in the very back, and it says Rare Books Room. I'm kind of interested.
Let's go take a look.
Is the everyday person allowed into it, or is it just...
Only with an escort. You're gonna go in with me. I don't even qualify as a supervisor. This is a rare opportunity.
I feel like there's going to be lasers pointing around.
To manage us, yeah, exactly. This is the Rare Books Room itself. We've got 2 of them. This is one of 3 volumes produced by a group of monks in Switzerland back in the 16th century.
So that says 1541, and this is 1551, so these things are very, very old.
Yeah, that has incredible detail.
Phil, you know, I appreciate you taking us around and showing us this place.
Oh, you're welcome anytime. I mean, this is a wonderful destination for anyone.
We're heading into Vail to meet my friend Eric Alexander. Eric is a really accomplished climber, and what he's really known for is leading people and climbers with disabilities. Back in 2001, he took Eric Weinmeier, the only blind climber to make it to the summit of Everest. Eric Alexander was his guide. So I asked Eric to take Greg and I to some of the most iconic ice climbs in Vail and see what he has in store for us.
It's a great place to go because it gets us into mountain mode. Vail's at 8,000 feet. With Mount Elbert being over 14,000 feet, it's super important for us to get that acclimation process started.
Eric, great to see you.
Hey, Brandon, good to see you.
In this cold morning.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, I'm
It's
Greg.
my brother Greg.
Greg, good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
So what do you got in store for us?
You can see the climb now.
Yeah.
That's called the spiral staircase, and that's where we're going to be. And that'll be easy to set up 2 ropes so you guys can climb safely at the same time.
From here, it looks like a really tall climb.
Yeah.
From here, it looks really tall.
It looks intimidating.
When you're halfway up, it feels really tall.
Yeah.
You guys ready to climb?
Yeah. So Greg and I, we used to live in Utah where we did a little bit of ice climbing, but treat us like we're beginners. 'Cause,
Okay.
the more technique we can have, the better.
It's been a little while.
Okay, you got it. So with your swing, you want to bring that tool back by your ear. When you bring it forward, there's a slight snap of the wrist at the very end. And with your kick, you want to kind of come almost from under into the ice. That's the basics.
Okay.
Now it's up to you guys to give it a shot. Good use of the existing holes.
How's it look up there?
Pretty sweet, man. Really cool. He's the older brother. He's getting old and slow.
This looks tricky up here.
There you go. Nice.
Woo! All right. Woo! That was sweet. All right, Eric, every state that we go to, Greg and I have a friendly competition, so it only makes sense that we'd have a little race to the top. What are some ground rules to make this thing safe and fair?
Absolutely. As you're climbing, no ice axes to the face.
Check.
No crampons to the calves.
Okay.
No cutting the other guy's rope.
That's questionable.
We'll start 5 feet up, go up to the ledge of snow. First guy to sink 2 tools into that ledge wins.
All right.
All right.
May the best man.
Let's do it.
Okay, let the race begin in 3, 2, 1, go! Ow!
Oh, I can't get any positive affirmations. I gotta get this thing. Oh, there's nothing over here. This is pretty vertical.
Right, Greg's got the edge. Greg's off to the lead here. Little bro, he's showing you up, Brandon.
I've got endurance.
Vertical limit!
I don't know. Neck and neck. 1 tool. Oh, that might be 2.
I won.
I'm right here.
No, I'm already here. Woo! Bargo brother, #1. Woo!
You might have won by a hair.
It was a photo finish though.
That was pretty tiring.
Yeah.
We're just now leaving Vail, where Greg and I competed in an ice climbing competition, and I beat him by like 1 axe length.
One ice swing.
Ice swing went up, and so now brother competition tied 1-1. And we're headed to Leadville, the highest city in the U.S., 10,152 feet. And we're gonna meet our guest, Marshall Ulrich. And Marshall is known as the king of endurance. And we're gonna talk to him about his eco challenges and all his ultra marathon races and his run across the U.S. Marshall, oh, so excited to meet you. This is my brother, Greg.
How you doing, Marshall?
Hi, I'm Brandon.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Greg, this is one of the greatest endurance athletes of all
I know.
time.
I know.
It reminds me of the time, do you remember that when we were in Austin and we saw Matthew McConaughey and he was doing somersaults in the back of the restaurant? Remember that?
What does that have to do with Marshall?
Matthew McConaughey is one of the best actors of all time, and he was in one of my favorite movies, We Are Marshall. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Marshall, you have to excuse my brother.
We are Marshall. We are. Where you guys? Where are you going?
All right. This place has primo pizza.
I've heard about it.
You're the legend of ultra running. How many times have you done a
Leadville
race?
I've finished it 13 times.
13.
Yeah, and I've placed as high as third, so I've run just a little over 20 hours here.
So what is it that just draws you back?
So it's kind of a contagious thing. I come to Leadville, and here are all these people that come here to run the race. And you get to know these people, and it's a small community, as you know, Greg. And so they become like family to you. So every time I come back here, it's like coming home. It's like a big reunion for me.
Yeah, there is something special about it. It's like the spirit of the town. It's like those miners were super tough guys, you know, and then they bring in this just crazy hard endurance race. It kind of has that same spirit, right? Just that mental toughness.
Leadville is very unique, I should say, like, right? Like the people are just, they're characters in those things.
They're hardy.
Hardy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So of all the races, what would you consider is the most difficult?
I think running across America, because every day I had to run.
60 miles every day.
Yeah, and I think we really are predisposed to be able to do extraordinary things like running 100 miles, which is pretty cool. It looks great.
Speaking of cool,
Yeah.
dig in.
Anytime we come to Leadville, we eat high mountain pies because, man, it's so good.
Greg and I usually, right before a trip, we like to kind of lay out our gear and make sure we have everything that we need. So Greg's the logistical expert, so we'll kind of go through everything just to make sure that we have it.
Number one is really warm feet. Definitely snowshoes for tomorrow. High winds, it's always good to have some goggles to protect. A down jacket, and even like a hard shell kind of windproof jacket. When you get those crazy temperatures, your water will freeze. So they make, you know, kind of bottle jackets for water. I mean, you've done Everest, you've seen bad temperatures before. Any tips that you might have for us on the mountain?
You know, I think you've got it pretty well covered for the type of climb that we're going to do. I think what's especially important is the water factor, that everybody has enough water and they keep it safe. In other words, thawed out. I think more people die on Mount Everest from dehydration than anything else.
A winter ascent for most, I think, would scare them off, but for you, Marshall, this is probably, I would say this is probably down here for you, so.
Well, not really. I appreciate you guys inviting me along.
Yeah.
Look forward to an epic adventure.
It's about 4 a.m. We left Leadville about 3:30. It's about 15 degrees with the wind chill probably closer to 5 degrees. And it's looking like a lot of snow, and it's only supposed to get a little bit colder. Well, Marshall, we always start our high point adventures with a high five, and we finish it with a high five. And the other thing, when you're climbing a winter peak like Mount Elbert, you got to be bold and start cold. So we got to go with a few less layers so we can move fast. Yeah. Greg, what's the temperature?
About like -4 degrees right now.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me.
You got it.
Let's
All right,
go.
here
Let's
it
do it.
goes. Nice job, guys. This is about the 2-mile mark in.
Yep.
So Marshall, one of the things we like asking people like you who've done really just, I think to the everyday person, it's just like, what? That is crazy.
Crazy and extreme.
Yeah. Like what's the thing that really drives you and pushes you? Because, you know, and it's so easy to quit at any moment.
Yeah, you know, I think it's, like you were saying, it's part of the solitude of it, you know, and learning more about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's very interesting, you know, to see what your limits are, and I kind of know what my limits are now. And, you know, I like to say sometimes you almost feel like when you're out there alone, or if you're hiking in an environment like this, you feel like you're, you know, part of the environment. And I like that feeling, and that feeling of feeling very, very small in the big universe. I just love that.
Yeah, and you know, I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on that thing that when you're doing something really hard and you want to quit, but you dig down deep and you kind of pull it out. Is that something you feel people are born with, or is it something that you can learn?
I think it is somewhat learned behavior. You know, I don't feel like I'm anybody extraordinary. You know, I hang with guys like you a lot, and, you know, you make me feel pretty puny sometimes, to be honest.
I don't think so.
But, you know, everybody has extraordinary abilities, and it may not be in the athletic arena, but it can be in other arenas too. Yeah. It's just accomplishing all that you can, being all that you can be.
I think it's about -4 or 5 now, but it's going to get a little bit chillier.
We still got a long ways to go.
Yeah, so you guys ready to keep going?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
All right, good job, guys. We're at about 11,300. We're actually getting clear skies, which is awesome. Oh, man. The drastic change between the blue sky and the snow is so cool. If we look off this way, you can see the town of Leadville. Yeah. You know, probably about 15 miles away. You know, it's cold out here, but when you're moving.
And just to give you a little idea of the snows, if you step off trail, it's almost like waist deep.
Well, it's waist deep here.
Yeah, you've noticed, so.
Yeah, good job. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, just up there is, I think, the next stop. So, man, this weather's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, help us up because I'm stuck.
Mount Elbert is one of 53 14,000-foot peaks in Colorado, better known among hikers and climbers as 14ers. The USGS says that there's 58 14ers, but climbers kind of have this argument that a peak has to be 300 feet above the saddle of the next connecting 14er. So with that rule, they're actually eliminating 5 of the 14ers. So a lot of guys say, no, it's only 53. But either way, that is a lot of really high mountains.
Well, guys, couldn't ask for a better day.
Yeah, it's
I mean, this is
so far so good, huh?
Yeah.
It's not just the oxygen that I can't breathe, but it actually is breathtaking.
Well, Marshall, for you, the most difficult thing was running across the U.S., right? So 52 days, averaging 60 miles a day. Do you feel like all those things that you did just kind of built up and then just led to kind of that pinnacle achievement?
I think so. I think it prepared me for that. I like to say that with all the mountaineering, all of the adventure racing, all of the running, when I ran across America, I learned more during that one event than all the others combined about myself. Wow. You know, the psyche that it takes to do it, how to fuel yourself, how to maintain weight. You know, it just, it was cumulative. But then, you know, my poor wife, she was along the whole way. So I couldn't have done it without her. And to have somebody so supportive by your side, encouraging you and not telling you when every thought in their mind was this guy should stop, not saying it, letting you go out there and beat yourself up and knowing that you have to do that and go through it. is you know, very important. So it takes an extraordinary person to do that.
For us, family is, I mean, really, it's everything. Super important, you know, and
I agree.
You've had some tragedy in your life, and actually recently my sister, she passed away.
I'm sorry.
And so I mean, it's just been, you know, it's been tough. You know, but I think it's those moments, I think, that you realize that life it's precious.
Yeah.
And I think it pushes us, and it just gives us a bigger perspective on life. Like sometimes going on adventures like this, you know, you need this to just help relieve the stress and the pressure, and but it also just helps you enjoy and just love life and pursue it to the fullest.
For me, it was squeezing every ounce out of life that you could get, because you know it's not infinite. You know, it's going to end, so you got to just get all that you can out of it. And you know, it was almost desperation for me, and you know, I was very troubled, you know, along the way. But you know, my wife helped me heal through that process too, and she taught me how to love again.
Yeah,
it's extraordinary.
Well, if you guys are ready,
we're ready.
All right, let's do it. Well, it's only fitting that we started our climb in the dark and we finished it in the dark.
Yeah.
I think it was about 14 hours.
That sounds about right.
And I think we calculated 60 to 70 mile an hour winds maybe. I don't know, but I have minus 40 degree mittens and my fingers were freezing. So it had to have been somewhere around there.
Yeah,
it was cold.
There was wind gusts that literally blew us off our feet.
Yeah.
Overall, I like to say, you know, this trip was epic, and I really like to use that word.
It was epic. Thanks for having me.
Well, we really appreciate it.
Don't call me again, ever.
Marshall, as we said, we like to start our climbs with a high five, and we like to finish it with a high five. So we figured you have to have some kind of high five that we can finish with. You got something for us?
It was so cold up there that, guess what happened?
The no digits high five?
No digits high five. Hoorah!
Greg, Colorado has been packed full of adventure, beautiful scenery, and a ton of snow.
Yeah, American Mountaineering Museum, ice climbing in Vail, pizza in the highest town in the United States, and summiting the highest point in Colorado in winter.
I think this trip has been epic, and it's been really cold. I guess really all we can say is, until next time, we are the Highpointers.
Yeah!